She stormed the house. He called the police. Now he says she ignored their dying dog for 2 years, and that's just the beginning. When Denise Richards tried to pick up her pets, her ex-husband accused her of abandonment, called her motives ulterior, and revealed their dog was put to sleep without her even knowing. But behind the scenes, things were already spiraling. Restraining orders, domestic violence claims, screaming matches at the front door. This isn't just a celebrity breakup. It's a full-blown Hollywood meltdown. And every new detail is darker than the last. Aaron Pfeifers didn't hold back. Just days after a police call shook their already crumbling relationship, he dropped a statement that stunned even longtime fans of the former couple. He claimed that Denise Richards, yes, the Hollywood star and self-proclaimed animal lover, hadn't interacted with their pets in 2 years. Not once, not for a walk, not for a vet check, nothing. According to Aaron, she didn't even want to know how they were doing. No updates, no concern, not even a text. And perhaps the most jarring part? He says she refused to give any permission for their care, almost as if she wanted no responsibility. Despite knowing one of them was seriously ill, to Aaron this wasn't just distance. It was abandonment, cold, complete detachment. And he didn't suggest this behind closed doors. He released it publicly, in a sharp, calculated move that immediately painted Denise in a much darker light. He made it clear. This wasn't about love lost between two people. It was about loyalty to living, breathing animals, ones he claims she simply walked away from. But Aaron wasn't done. He hinted that Denise's recent visit to his house, where she tried to retrieve one of the dogs, wasn't about love or care. It was, as he put it, driven by ulterior motives. It was a shocking accusation that flipped the narrative completely, because up until now, the public saw Denise as the victim, the one with the restraining order, the one who left a reportedly abusive marriage. But this claim from Aaron, it forced people to ask an uncomfortable question. What kind of person abandons their pets for 2 years, only to show up after one is gone? The story turned heartbreaking fast. The dog at the center of this firestorm was Melanie, a sweet, aging companion that had been part of Aaron and Denise's blended family for years. But Melanie wasn't just old. According to Aaron and sources close to him, she was suffering. The diagnosis? Late-stage cancer. The kind where the vet doesn't talk about treatments anymore. They talk about pain, management, and how many days are left. And in those final days, Aaron says he was forced to make the toughest decision of all, to let her go. But here's where the fallout ignited. Denise, he claimed, didn't know Melanie had even been sick. She had no say, no input, no goodbye. The same woman who once showed off her dogs on red carpets and social media had, according to Aaron, vanished from their lives entirely. And now, one of them was gone forever. Aaron said the idea that Melanie was simply put down was not just cruel, and it was misleading. He described it as sending her off to heaven, a painful but compassionate act meant to ease suffering, a final gift to a loyal friend. But Denise, she reportedly didn't see it that way. In fact, when she found out, she was furious. So furious that she drove straight to Aaron's home. But was it about grief? Or something more? This wasn't just a sad story about a dying pet. It was quickly becoming a full-blown emotional and legal war. And behind the tears was something much darker brewing. Because when Denise showed up, she didn't come quietly. Just hours after learning that Melanie, the dog she once called family, had been euthanized without her knowledge, Denise Richards showed up at Aaron Pfeifers' home. But this wasn't a quiet visit to grieve. According to sources, it turned chaotic fast. The Lost Hills Sheriff's Department confirmed they responded to the scene that day. August 3rd, the call, a disturbance at the home. The visitor, Denise herself. By this point, things weren't just tense, they were legally explosive. Denise had a temporary restraining order against Aaron, citing disturbing allegations of physical abuse. But her attorney insisted she didn't violate it. Her defense? She believed Aaron wasn't even home at the time. According to her lawyer, she entered the home only after confirming he was gone, just to retrieve her remaining dogs, fearing what had happened to Melanie might happen again. But here's where the story twists. Aaron was there. People later confirmed it. And not only that, a source close to Aaron claims Denise was pounding on the door, screaming, escalating the scene. Aaron allegedly slipped out through another exit, avoiding confrontation altogether. Was he hiding from a confrontation or avoiding something worse? The entire moment felt like a boiling point. Two people with restraining orders, accusations, and now police involvement, colliding over something that once symbolized love. their pets. But this wasn't just about who was home and who wasn't. This moment exposed just how broken things really were. The emotional rage, the legal lines blurred, the fear on both sides. And all of it was just the beginning, because what happened next pushed this story beyond messy, divorce, and into something far more dangerous. When Aaron turned his fire not just on Denise, but on her legal team. At first it seemed like a misunderstanding. Denise Richards' legal team claimed she entered the property under the assumption that Aaron Vipers wasn't home. That's what justified her action, at least in court. She wasn't there to confront him, they said. She was there for her dogs. But then came the twist that unraveled the story. Aaron was home the entire time. People confirmed it. Witnesses claimed he didn't just witness the scene. He quietly slipped out the back to avoid it. So now the question wasn't just about a visit. It was about credibility. Did Denise know he was inside and show up anyway, risking a confrontation and potentially violating a restraining order? Or was Aaron hiding, waiting for the moment to flip the script and expose her in the public eye? A source close to Aaron described Denise's arrival as chaotic, loud banging, screaming, demanding access. Not the actions of someone quietly picking up pets, but of someone on a mission, emotional and unfiltered. If that account is true, it paints a different picture. One of rising desperation, maybe even calculated provocation, but Denise's side tells another story. One where she was blindsided by Aaron's actions, acting out of grief after learning one of her dogs was euthanized, without her knowledge. Two versions, two conflicting truths, and in the middle of it all, a dog's tragic death, a fractured marriage, and a house that's become more of a battlefield than a home. But Aaron wasn't done pointing fingers. In fact, he made it clear, the person he really blamed wasn't just Denise. It was the one standing beside her attorney. Just when the dust seemed to settle, Aaron Vipers broke the silence, and when he didn't hold back. In a jaw-dropping public statement that instantly went viral, Vipers laid out a version of events so fiery, so unapologetically raw, it left fans and critics completely divided. He claimed Denise Richards hadn't seen their dog in nearly 2 years, describing her sudden interest as performative and laced with ulterior motives. You don't get to ignore someone in their final days and then show up when the cameras are rolling, he said, ouch. But that was just the beginning. Vipers painted himself as the one left to deal with the dog's rapidly deteriorating health, sleepless nights, heartbreaking vet visits, and ultimately, the devastating decision to put their pet down. He said, I held her paw as she went to sleep, alone, because Denise was nowhere. And while some sympathized, calling his words the mark of a grieving pet parent, others weren't buying it. Critics pointed out that he never provided solid proof that Denise was completely absent, and a few insiders even claimed she had tried to reach out, but was shut down. So who's telling the truth? Was Vipers making a genuine emotional stand, or crafting a narrative to discredit his ex? The internet erupted. Hashtags trended. Supporters and skeptics took sides, turning a private tragedy into a very public war of words. And behind the scenes, lawyers were already watching closely. Because if defamation gets proven, or if Denise fights back, this entire saga could head straight into the courtroom. And just when you thought this couldn't get darker, the allegations turn violent. In a shocking twist, sources close to the situation began leaking whispers that Denise Richards may have filed a domestic violence report during her troubled marriage with Aaron Vipers. The timeline? Fuzzy. The details? Disturbing. But the implications? Devastating. One report, later confirmed by insiders, alleges that Richards once left the couple's Malibu home in tears and trembling after a confrontation turned physical. Law enforcement was allegedly involved, but no charges were filed. Still, whispers quickly snowballed into headlines. And here's the thing, while Aaron Vipers has publicly painted Denise as unstable and manipulative, people close to her insist the actress lived in fear for years. She was always walking on eggshells, one source revealed. She never knew what would trigger him. The tension in their home was reportedly unbearable, with one insider describing their arguments as volcanic. But what really caught fans off guard was how calculated and quiet Richards was about the whole ordeal. There was no public smear campaign, no social media blasts, just carefully filed court documents, private therapy sessions, and then silence. Was she protecting her daughters? Her career? Or something else entirely? Aaron, on the other hand, flatly denied any abuse, calling the allegations fabricated nonsense meant to destroy his reputation. He claimed he was the real victim, painting Denise as a manipulative ex desperate for control. But here's what's important. These aren't just rumors anymore. They're part of a much larger pattern, one that involves explosive fights, 911 calls, custody battles, and now, public humiliation. And it begs the question, who's telling the truth? And what happens when the cameras stop rolling? As the allegations piled up, Aaron Vipers refused to stay quiet. In a powerful, heartfelt statement to the press, he made one thing crystal clear. He vehemently denied any form of abuse against Denise Richards. "I have never physically or emotionally abused Denise, or anyone," he declared, standing firm amid a storm of accusations that threatened to destroy his reputation. He admitted their marriage faced challenges, as many do, but insisted those struggles never crossed into violence. Aaron portrayed himself as a man trying to hold a family together, not tear it apart. He spoke of love, patience, and respect, words that seemed at odds with the violent images painted by court documents. This public declaration turned the situation into a classic he said, she said battle, forcing fans and media alike to pick sides in what quickly became a high-profile celebrity feud. Then came the divorce filing. Just weeks after Denise accused Aaron of abuse, the couple officially split, ending 6 years of marriage. The timing raised eyebrows and questions. Were these accusations the cause, or a desperate bid to protect herself in an already toxic situation? Public opinion fractured. Some rallied behind Denise, condemning Aaron's alleged behavior. Others saw Aaron as a victim of false claims, questioning Denise's motives and timing. The media frenzy only intensified as each side released statements and counterstatements. Lawyers prepared for a legal showdown, and social media exploded with heated debates. Behind the scenes, this wasn't just a breakup, it was a full-blown war that would play out both in courtrooms and headlines, with their private lives exposed for millions to scrutinize. The divorce between Denise Richards and Aaron Vipers wasn't a slow unraveling. It hit like a lightning strike. After 6 years of marriage, the split was officially filed in July 2025, shocking fans who had watched their once seemingly stable relationship from afar. Aaron cited irreconcilable differences as the reason, a phrase that often masks deeper, more complicated issues. But just days after the filing, Denise dropped bombshell allegations of domestic violence, painting a dark picture of their time together, one filled with fear, control, and abuse. The rapid sequence of events sparked speculation everywhere. Was the divorce a result of years of hidden turmoil finally coming to light? Or was it triggered by the recent dispute over their pets, especially the heartbreaking loss of their dog Melanie? Public interest peaked as timelines overlapped. The restraining order, the euthanasia of Melanie, Denise's visit to Aaron's home, and the explosive statements that followed. The seemingly simple story of a broken marriage quickly became tangled in layers of legal battles, emotional trauma, and public drama. This wasn't just a split. It was a storm that left everyone wondering what had really been happening behind closed doors. And as the media spotlight intensified, so did the pressure on both sides to tell their version of the truth. This isn't your typical Hollywood breakup story. It's a tangled web of heartbreak, betrayal, and bitter battles, all triggered by a dog's tragic final days. What started as a personal loss spiraled into a public war involving restraining orders, police visits, and explosive accusations that have rocked both Denise Richards and Aaron Vipers' worlds. But beyond the headlines and courtroom, drama lies a deeper question. Who's really telling the truth? Was this heartbreaking conflict about neglected pets and emotional pain? Or was the dog just the spark that ignited a much darker, long-hidden fire? As fans and outsiders, all we have are fragments of a story. Statements and counterstatements, rumors and facts, tears and denials. And sometimes the truth is the hardest thing to find. So what do you think? Was this a tragic ending for a beloved pet that tore apart a family? Or is there more to this Hollywood meltdown than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because in a story this raw and complicated, every perspective matters.